How was your festivities all? Everyone? Yeah, it has changed. Okay, no. Attendees, it was for a host. Yeah, we've changed, Gaurav. Now, yeah, you're doing well, Jyoti. That's very nice to hear. Very nice, Dilesh and Mansi. So, yes, welcome all of you, Jibin, uh, Jyotishman, Sunny, Shreya, everyone. Welcome to the second session. Exam was good, very nice. I mean, Jyotishman, that is the best thing. And you added advantage is that only that the exams were good, very nice. And I'm pretty sure you all would score really, really well because you know what happens as soon as we wear the cape of a student, we all think from a student perspective. So that's lovely. Today we would be talking, like, today is our second session, and in this session we would be talking a bit like last time I gave you a hint of the things, an overview rather of what we would be doing in these three more sessions. So today we are on session number 2. Tomorrow we would be on session number 3. So tomorrow all our behavioral science part would be complete, and the last session which we have next Saturday, the same time, 7 to 9:30, that session, fourth session, we would be completing our HR part. Okay, everyone, shall we start? And again, please be participative. Otherwise, it will be again difficult for me to drive the class. And if at any point of time, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Right? So yeah, so today is the session number 2. We would be talking about your behavioral science. So last time also we discussed about what do we mean by OB. And many of you had chosen to eat some chocolates, and the name turned out to be your Harpic chocolate. So many of you resisted that, nah, we don't want those chocolates anymore. So yeah, let's reflecting on about what about organization behavior. See what happens when many people, so before that we discussed that it was all about barter system. So what Jibin had and what Nilesh had, they would exchange with each other if they wanted those things. And that's how it was so simple and sorted. Exchange of items would happen in barter system. But as human beings, our needs are complex, our wants are complex, and we all are. That complexity keeps on increasing, and especially when the factories and all started coming up. So people became more demanding. They had more aspirations, more demands. So when you talk about organization behavior, it talks about how individuals, the employees behave at work, right? Every individual is different, but the kind of interaction which you have, because see, when we talk about human behavior, organizational behavior, it will never happen in silo. Kabhi bhi, never. So when Ankit wants to talk about certain thing, and when we all are working together, so how Ankit says something, Abhishek will respond to it, or Basappa would respond to it, or Ganesh would respond to it. So behavior would not happen. So it is not always intrapersonal, like all about yourself. It is about people around you. So when we talk about organization behavior, we study behavior in 3 levels. First level is your individual level. So individual level, we talk about personality, we talk about perception, we also talk about leadership, we talk about motivation, because that is individual. Every individual's personality is different, attitude is different, motivation is different, leadership style is different. Then we come to next level, which is group level. So in group level, what we learn about teamwork, we learn about power and politics. Okay, because I can't do politics with myself. If I had to, power and politics would happen with people across, like around me, and then conflict. Yes, we do have intrapersonal, but most of the time it is also interpersonal, intergroup conflict, which happens in organization. So this is your second level, which is a group level. Then comes the third level, which is organizational level. So in organizational level, we talk about change, culture, the bigger issues. So yeah, so through this thing, we try to understand the people aspect in organization. Now, last time we discussed psychoanalytic. Okay, guys, this theory is important, right? The psychoanalytic theory, it is an important theory. So let me tell you about this thing. So in psychoanalytic theory, last time also I told you about that Sigmund Freud, the father of psychology. He's the one who has given this theory where it says that we have 3 parts of our personality. And this psychoanalytic theory is a big work when it comes to understanding people and solving their personality disorders, because sometimes things are so deep inside us, so deep inside us. So until and unless you unravel the personality, you understand these three aspects, you would not be able to, right, kind of decipher it. Are we all good till now? Abhi, Abid, Vasapa, Gaurav, Jibin, Jyotish, everyone, Manash, Kripa, Mansi, Nilesh, Shilpa, Rahul, everyone, Shreya, Sab, Sunil, Veena, Vinay. Yeah, please, in case, I do understand we all have had already a long week, and yeah, no problem. But I would appreciate that in case if you feel there's any question, you are not clear in any aspect, please, right, feel free to ask question. ठीक है? Acha, no problem, Nilesh. So we've just started. We were talking about what organization behavior is, like how people behave at work. No, and one level is individual level, where we talk about study about motivation, attitude, personality, perception. Then in the second level, we study about the group behavior. Like in group behavior, we talk about power and politics. We talk about conflict, and then the third level is organizational level. Wow, very nice, Shilpa. Then the third one is power and politics, where we understand the organizational level. Sorry, the third level is organizational level, in which we talk about your change management, cultural aspects, and all. Right. So this one we talked. Then I was telling about this. Shilpa, that's very interesting, though. Huh? So then we were talking about psychoanalytic theory, which was given by Sigmund Freud, right? So Sigmund Freud and this particular theory helped, as I was saying, it helps to understand the personality disorders and all in people, to unravel that personality. So as per psychoanalytic theory, we have three parts of our personality: id, ego, and superego, right? All of us have three parts of our personality. It is that part of our personality which seeks for gratification, immediate gratification. It feels that every time it has to be satisfied. You have to make it happy. That's an entire idea about it. That I don't care about others. All I want is self gratification, the pleasure. So it works on pleasure principle. It always wants to be happy. It always craves for pleasure. That's what it is, right? It seeks pleasure. So if you can compare, it is like a child. That's what happens with kids. They don't care about others, how others are doing. They want the biggest share for themselves. And they would want what they want, right? They would cry, they will howl, they would even lie down. If you take a kid to a mall and they have liked a toy, so in order to get that toy, they don't care whether the parents have money or not, whether they want to get it or not. Okay, they will just lie down. Have you seen? We all probably would have also been sometimes like that. Yeah, so yes, Usha, that's what is it. It is just like child. Whatever happens, it doesn't care. All it wants is self-happiness. Now, super ego, the third one, if you see, super ego is that part of personality which will, and super ego, so it is right from childhood, right? Super ego develops around 4 5 years of age. So, super ego is that part of your personality which will ask you to do what is morally correct, what is accepted in the society, which is supposed to be correct in the society, right? So it's super ego is like parents. So how parents are, they'll tell you, no, this is not correct. Okay, this is correct. Studying is correct. Going out in the evening is not correct. So a super ego wants to you to abide by the principles of the society, moral values of the society. Okay, so it would always want you to do what is supposedly correct, morally correct. So that's your super ego. Like a parent typically would ask you to do something which is deemed to be correct. Now, so you all know that in practical life, all the time, satisfying myself or all the time satisfying the society, it's not possible. Do you all agree to this bit? Sometimes, I do what I want to do. And sometimes I do what people would want me to do. But Abid, tell me, every time to do something that people would want me to do or what I want to do, it's not possible. Do we all agree to this part? Every time, either to fulfill my desire or to fulfill the country or the world or the parents or the society, what they want from me, it's not possible. So what we do, Satish, most of the time we adhere to ego. Okay, so ego is that part of personality So ego is not that ego which we say, oh, this individual is egoistic. No. In psychology, ego is that part of your personality which is rational, which is adult like, which is logical. That is ego, right? So ego understands I'm living in a practical world. It is not always possible to satisfy myself for the world. So I'll have to find a midway. I'll have to find a solution. So what it does? So ego says a little bit of it and little bit of super ego, and I'm going to bridge between them. I'm going to find a practical. So ego is like adult, understands this is a realistic word. I'm not, I need to apply this. I need to find a practical solution. That's what like it's like ego. So what ego does, for example, I might have said this last time, I don't remember. You have your examination and all you want to do, it is saying, go Gaurav, party yourself. Jyotish man, you have been slogging so hard. COVID has already taken your, 2 years. Now go and enjoy yourself. This is just this time you have to enjoy. Go out, meet your friends, party hard. This is what it is saying. Your super ego is saying, you have invested, Shilpa, so much of money in this MBA analytics. You have invested your time, money, and effort. Now, examinations are appearing. Do not go anywhere. Study hard, make it, worth. Now, what happens is that some of us, we may fall to ego, id, है ना? Hoga, some of us will say, ठीक है ना, let me go and party. Is that possible? Some of us would listen to our id. Some of us would listen to super ego ki nahi, I have invested so much of money. Let me study. That is correct. I just can't let it go. Not just money. I've invested my time and, I have managed my office all throughout. So some of us may listen to our super ego, stay home. Some of us may find a practical solution. We'll say, theek hai, I need to manage my, yeah, exactly, Shilpa. So some of us will say, na, I need to manage my studies, but I also need to take care of my friends. How am I going to get these people have helped me sail through this hectic MBA analytics, all these Python and all these things they have helped me. So what you will do, you will study all things before. Okay, go out for the party, stay there for 2-3 hours, come back, pull an all-nighter, and then it is done. Exactly, Nilesh. Sometimes, yeah, that's what it is. Sometimes you all need that break. That is important. You've been studying, work, study. So when that break appears, you'll have to find a practical good, Nilesh. That is there, huh? That happens. And that is your, that's how you find practical. It happens with most of us when we are dieting. Okay. So for example, you see Pani Puri. I'm on a diet and I see Pani Puri and it is like, go have it. Pani Puri, so good, so good. Jyoti, yeah, always find a practical one, the ego one. And Pani Puri, right? And then your super ego will tell, okay, your health is deteriorating. You are not even taking care. Okay, you are aging. Now you need to eat right. So sometimes I may listen to it. Okay, I don't care. I need to have Pani Puri. Sometimes I'll listen to super ego. No, my health is really messed up. And then, yeah, exactly, Shipra. And otherwise, what, as Shipra said, just half a plate and rest is this much of salad. Yeah, Satish, that works on that ego principle. Not ego, id principle. Self-centric works on id. It is all about satisfying myself, only thinking about myself, making myself happy. That's Satish. It works on pleasure principle, and that is what is your id. That is Nilesh's strategy. Yeah. So finding extreme of anything is not correct. Satish, are we clear here? Yeah. Lovely. So did I show you Donald Duck, Donald Duck's video last time? Id ego and super ego में दिखाया था? Do you remember? Nobody saying yes, no. नहीं ना? Yeah, I think so. I haven't showed. Let me just show it to you. Give me a moment, huh? Let me search that. This is what happens when you want to find a right video. It would never appear. Give me a moment. Yeah, I got it. It's a small 1-minute video. We are not there on the video page. Guys, are we there on the video page? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
Wake up, Donald. Wake up. Wide awake. We must get up. All right. All right.
Hey, don't be a sap. Let's go back to sleep.
Okay. Come, Donald. Donald?
I'll see you later.
Donald! Hurry.
I think that's with everyone. That's how our snooze works. Huh? Keep on snoozing it. All of us. That's how it happens. Yeah. So that is sometimes, and that's how we know practical. Thoda bahut we can sleep. We always have that 10-15 minutes ka space there. We can see. Okay, Yunus, you are also like that. So I can relate to it. I don't snooze, but I have, as you said, 3 alarms minimum. I do that. Like every 10 minutes or so, I would have alarm. So I know that absolutely, I do agree. 15 minutes ka gap, Usha, you have, I keep around 10 minutes gap. Now, yeah. So last time I told you about this big 5 personality trait. Remember? Again, this is again a very, very important concept of big 5 personality. You already had an IA on it. You had an IA on it. I don't remember. I don't know. Just asking. Yeah. How did it fare? Good? Ocean, very good. So we would be discussing about it as well. It's a very important question or concept rather. So yeah, it's also known as ocean, the big 5 personality traits. Have you watched the movie Rang De Basanti? Dekhi, have you all watched it? The Rang De Basanti, yeah. So yes, we would be learning these big 5 traits from Rang De. So as I told you last time also, all of us, the entire class here, all of us do have all these big 5 traits. You can't say that Jyoti can't say that I don't have agreeableness or I don't have consciousness. She has. She might be on a higher side, on a lower side. So it may happen that Mansi is high on extroversion, Jyotishman is low on extroversion. All of us would have these 5 personality traits, but the magnitude would vary. Some of us would be towards the higher end, some of us would be towards the lower end, and some of us would be towards in the mid range. So that's how it happens. Now let me explain these big 5 through the caselet of Rang De Basanti. So let's take first one, which is about conscientiousness. So conscientiousness means, can we say this as a trait? Yeah, these are big 5 traits only, Abid. Yeah, these are traits. Traits of being extrovert, trait of being an introvert. Yeah, so trait is a characteristic or a feature or a quality, or however you kind of term it. So this is known as big 5 personality traits or ocean, right? So first, when we say it is about your, are we good, Abid? So first we say that, which is your conscientiousness. So conscientiousness, if you have watched the movie, you will see the character Sue, which has been played by Alice Pattinson. You will see that she wanted to make a movie because she knew her grandfather was moved by India's freedom fight, and also she wanted to make a movie for him. And these people are very organized. So you will see she was so organized about it. They're great in creating a team, and that's how what she did. She brought everyone together. She made sure that she created nice relations between them, and she was like, she took one day at a time to make sure that she's able to accomplish her task. So that's what happened with people who have high conscientiousness. You know, these people are very well organized. As I would say, they have a place for everything and everything in place. As I probably was talking about this, that if you're one individual who keeps things back from the place they would have taken it, or if your desktop is clean, spick and span, if you are highly organized, ki tomorrow I need to complete these tasks, and you will do it. If you are very dependable, highly dependable, okay, and you have this fire within you to go ahead and get the success, very focused individual, if they take a task in hand, they'll make sure they're able to do it. That is high on conscientiousness, and that's a great trait. Okay, so and people who are low on conscientiousness, very haphazard. Pura desktop be, it would be totally haphazard. They will keep on procrastinating, delaying, ki theek hai, kal kar lenge, very random. But these people, high on conscientiousness, very organized. They're not random. They are very well planned. This is how we are going to do it. This is how we're going to achieve our goals. Very high drive for success. And they would love to complete tasks when they are together. So it's very much required for team leads and all. Great capability or characteristics for team lead. Very dependable. So are we good in this trait? Conscientiousness. Then we go to the next trait. This is extroversion. So you'll see this guy, Shraman Joshi, Sukhi, who acted as. So what happened? These are the people, the one who are high in extroversion. They derive their energy by being around with people. So they can really break a conversation. For them, it is not difficult to break the ice. So if you are in conference and suddenly someone comes and talks to you, hey Jyoti, how are you doing? Hey Mansi, how are you doing? Ha Abid, how are you? Aniket, what's up? Then you will understand these people are great in making the first conversation. And if you are uncomfortable and if you doing that and you want to be in your own, in your own inner circle, or by your own, reflecting on your own thoughts, that means you're low on extroversion or high on introversion. And if you're low on extroversion, so when you're drained out in energy, you would want to be by yourself. You don't want to go and, talk to others, because then you feel all the more drained. These extrovert people, they love to be in social setting. They love to be the center of attraction, and they get all their energy by being around with people. So in group setting, they're very comfortable in opening up. They enjoy being in social circle. They're very warm. They're very warm in talking and all. And they are always cheerful, always bubbling with energy. And the extroversion is great for when you are in marketing field or in PR, public relations, in brand communication. These traits work really great. Client services, customer servicing. Okay, these all traits are perfect. High in extroversion is perfect. And then people who are in between, who are selectively extrovert, they are ambiverts. How many of you think yourself to be ambiverts? Kitno ko lagta they are like selectively? If in case we love the other company, but those people we know. Mansi, that's what I'm saying. Inner circle hai na? So if you are only comfortable with your inner circle, your own company, that means, and you're not comfortable outside your comfort zone. Okay, and introvert does not mean कि हम किसी से भी बात नहीं करेंगे. That would be introvert then, introversion. Shilpa, you are ambi. Jyotishman is ambi. Aniket is ambi. Satish is ambi. What about others? Abhi, Arvind, Basappa, Ganesh, Gaurav. What about you guys? Jibin, Tharavila, Kripa. What about you? Introvert, Sunil? Pritpal? Abhishek, you? I love it. Kripa, me too, extra. Lovely, Kripa. That's amazing. Pritpal is ambivert. Gaurav kind of thinks he's introvert. Mansi thinks introvert. And another Gaurav thinks extrovert. Both sometimes, then probably ambivert Usha, little intro Jyoti, Nilesh an extrovert with limited people. It's selectively extrovert, na Shreya, then you are ambivert. Intro Veena, Vijay Ambi. Conscientiousness trait of Sukhi. So conscientiousness, Sukhi would come in mid, I think. Huh? What do you think, Sashi? Because Sukhi, if you see, he wasn't that much. He definitely wasn't that much organized and all. He was little. So I think it would be, yeah, that was bringing everyone together. You can see he was good at. Okay. But being organized, he was quite random. Do you agree, Shashi? He was not very organized in doing certain things. So that's the reason some things you will see more towards high, some things to low. So I am assuming he would come in mid. What do you say, Shashi? Do you agree to this or not? Less, yeah, that's what I'm saying. His organization skill was less. So hence it is towards the lesser side. But if you talk about, bringing everyone together, taking everyone along with, then in that level, conscientiousness was high. But yes, that's a reason if you see the mishmash, it would be somewhere in mid. But yes, organized wise, he was less organized. I agree. Now, high on agreeableness. If we talk about DJ, okay, high on agreeableness. So these are very empathetic people. They themselves are so honest. That's the reason they also believe in others' honesty. So an individual who is a high on agreeableness, that means that individual is compassionate, he's empathetic, he's honest, believes in others' honesty. Okay, very straightforward. And people who are low on it, what happens is they are very suspicious. They doubt on others. They themselves aren't very honest. That's the reason they're always second doubting others. I'll give you an example for this. For example, it may happen that Madhuri, whilst coming to work, she saw that there was this accident, and Madhuri went to help that individual. Okay, so it may happen. So Madhuri went to help that individual, and when till the time she reached work, it was already late. So she was supposed to reach work, say 9:30, and she reached past noon. So let's take two incidences where the boss was high on agreeableness and where the boss was low on agreeableness. If that individual was high on agreeableness and Madhuri he asked the boss normally, what happened, Madhuri? Today you're very late. So Madhuri said, so and so thing happened on the road, and I saw an individual met an accident. I took that individual to hospital, got him admitted. Till the time the family could come, I was there. So individual who is high on agreeableness, he would be compassionate. He would be like, Madhuri, I hope you're right. What happened? Do you require any help? Is that individual well? You should call him up and try to understand. This is high on agreeableness. Cut to low on agreeableness. So same scenario, Madhuri comes late. The boss asks what happened, and Madhuri says, this is what happened. Do you think it may happen that the boss will think, oh, I'm pretty certain Madhuri might have gone for an interview and she's just now creating a story? Can it happen with an individual who's suspicious, low on agreeableness? Huh? Happen? Yes, no? Yeah, that's what happens. I'm pretty sure she must have gone for an interview and now she's cooking up a story around it. That's what happens. I'll show you a video a little later. You'll see. Have you heard the story of Cinderella? Not Cinderella, I'm sorry, Snow White. Snow White ka story you have heard, right? As a kid, we all have a fairy tale of Snow White, evil queen and Snow White. Huh? Yeah. So what happens? Snow White was very high on agreeableness. That's the reason every time evil queen will hatch a new plan and she will fall prey to it because she herself was so honest. She believed in others' honesty. This is what happens, guys. Do you agree? Bilkul, very good, Rahul. So Rahul has amazing point of opinion here. This is what I was my second point of opinion, Rahul, saying that you might be a people's person, you might be high on empathy, but do not let people take advantage of you. Very good. Yeah, it is your prudency, your judgment to understand who is taking advantage. Do not let people take advantage of you. They will. So what you have to have? You have to. So as Rahul said, none of us are stupid that people will take advantage and we wouldn't understand. See, sometimes we all understand what people are doing, but we tend to stay quiet, right? Because we don't want to channelize our energy. Chodo. Already, we all think, already my life mein bahut stress is there. I don't want to take any more stress. Hota hai, this is what happens. But yes, sometimes, it is very important. You need to put your foot down. You need to make people understand that I am good. That does not mean that you will keep on piggy riding me. You keep on taking advantage. So what he said is correct. Okay. Now you have taken so much of advantage of that individuals of goodness or empathy or high on agreeableness that's not correct. So it is on you for you to make a line clear that yes, I'm a people's person, but I'm not foolish. Right? It is good for it. Again, you have to we all have to be use our judgment there. Okay? Yes, Satish, it is relatable. So if an individual is high on empathy, compassion is related to empathy, na? Absolutely, yes, Satish, yes. So these people are very compassionate. Next comes your emotional stability. Yeah, we can put Shashi. If you kind of do every individuals, what I've done, I've taken only one individual. So if you kind of do understand every individuals, you can do that. Yes, absolutely. Now, high emotional stability. So it is important, whatever job you're doing, your emotional stability is required everywhere. See, however irritated you are, but would you bash your boss's face? Give him one tight. However, you feel like within yourself that this individual is not letting me live my life. I want to slap him hard. However, how many times you would have wanted to do that? But that's not advisable, right? Or neither when you're so overwhelmed with work, you can't cry. Okay. When you're happy, you can't jump around. So when we say emotional stability, it's all emotions. Emotion doesn't only means anger. Emotion means happiness also. You need to take it in control. It also means sad, grief, everything. So as I always say that when you are very angry, please don't write any mail or message. Even if you want to type that, put it in draft. Uske baad, when you are cool, calm down, then go and revisit the draft. Would you want to send it now? If no, then you understand that when we are emotionally charged, we never make the right decision. Agreed, right? You will see yourself when you're happy now. Happiness is also an emotion. You will see you tend to overpromise people. Haan, Basappa, happened with us when we are very happy, we overpromise and then underdeliver. Huh, Vijay? I think apart from neuroticism, it should be high because neuroticism is opposite of emotional stability. So highly emotional stable means less of neuroticism, and less of neuroticism means highly emotional stability. Okay. Sometimes it can be otherwise to what, Satish, that you do the right thing whilst you're in anger. So, nahi, Satish, I still feel when we are charged with emotions, we are not able to think straight. Okay, because we are overwhelmed with our emotions. So it is important that we need to relax. We need to have a composure and then take decision, because a decision, then you can weigh that decision very well. Now, otherwise, you whatever emotion you are at that moment, that emotion is overruling your sanity, your practical. It's important to have that practical aspect. So, emotion is that. See, for example, it may happen with us that when we are too emotional, and say, for example, I want to give a suggestion to my boss. Okay, it is but natural in any setup that it is dependent on your suggestion whether boss likes or not. Sometimes for certain things. So yes, Pritpal, in this case, when you're overwhelmed with your emotions, procrastination can be good as well. Yes, true that. I agree. Then you procrastinate your decision. Okay, we'll do it later. Then it is absolutely good. So yeah, so coming back to emotional stability. So for example, you gave a suggestion to the boss, and these are kind of innate, Pritpal. But yes, apart from being innate, we also acquire, like we also see it from our surrounding. So this is something which we do have them, but we also gain with the kind of upbringing we have, the kind of surrounding, the kind of appreciation we get it. So you can say it's something like your personality. We all say that personality shapes up from the time we are born, but along with our childhood experience, it is also the kind of surrounding, the kind of culture, the kind of education we get it. That makes it. So it's a blend. Usha, I think in remote job also your emotional stability is very much required. You might not be able to meet the employee, but you have to get the work done. And in such cases, you need more emotional maturity and more emotional stability. You don't want to lose your cool. Okay, remote employee, you are not able to resolve your conflict face to face. All the more problematic. How are you going to combat that situation? You need to maintain your calm, rationale it out as much as possible. Talk like an adult. It is important under any stressful situation. Sometimes you don't even meet your client. Your client is demanding. Even in that situation, you can't be like always, getting overwhelmed with emotions. So, Madhuri, that's what I'm saying. It's important to have a conversation. Until unless you don't have a conversation, no solution will come out. Always rational it out. You'll have to tell them that this is how, this way you are also missing. So, Madhuri, you will have to put it across that this way you are missing so much of learning opportunity. This way she would never be able to grow. You have to put that in her mind, in that or his or her mind, that whenever the work is challenging, along with the challenges, you would have so much of opportunities to learn and grow. If she keeps on shrugging away from her responsibilities, and you'll have to say it in a way that you will have to take care of your health, because if you're not able to take care of your health, these opportunities are going to someone else. That individual is learning, moving ahead in the career. You would be lagging behind. So you have to put it across like that. It is, Satish, and we can only implement emotional intelligence if we are aware of our own self. So we have, as I said, we have 4 pillars: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. If you're able to do these 4 things, you're sorted. Yeah. So as I was saying, yeah, coming back to boss's question, boss does not take your, point of opinion. Okay, maybe. And it's not that every time I give an opinion, it might be correct. So if you are sensitive enough and think, acha, after this, I'm not going to give my input, what happens? It's your loss. Do you all agree? It's our loss. You don't have to be that sensitive to things. Okay. Yes, don't have to be embarrassed or discouraged, because we all say that now, ki ab hamara, we have all got thick skinned. We all have become thick skinned. We all say that, isn't it? Over the years, after all this experience, we all have become thick skinned. That is important. We need to have that. If I start taking it to my heart, oh my God, this is what that day, I would not be able to do anything then. So yeah. Are we all good? Everybody is quiet. And then comes your openness to experience. Openness to experience is that if you are an individual who like to kind of try new things, okay, you're open for any new experience, that's good. That means you're flexible, you're agile, you're adaptive. Whereas if you feel like, no, I don't want to experiment on anything, you want to be in your shell, in your cocoon, that's not correct. So people who are open to experience, they are very creative, very artistic. They are ready to change. They don't shrug away any kind of changes. They appreciate, they're very imaginative. So, all these movies, when you see Disney movies and your Avengers and things around it, this was someone's, thought process to think beyond the obvious, right? That is important. These people are inquisitive, curious, always want to experiment on things. So that these kind of traits are very good for very creative jobs, like, music, art, advertising, media. Yeah, exactly, Basappa. So I'll show you a video on this and then we'll talk about attitude. Just give me a moment.
I love Acrobat because of the convenience. I can work from anywhere. It's really great to use Adobe Acrobat to be able to get real-time feedback and comments.
Are we there on the video page? First, you tell me that. Are we there? Can't see? Yes. Okay, fine. Thank you.
William and offer him the crown. William's conduct at first was modest. Alice, will you kindly pay attention to your history lesson?
I'm sorry, but how could I possibly pay attention to a book with no pictures in it?
My dear child, there are a great many good books in this world without pictures.
In this world, perhaps, but in my world, the books would be nothing but pictures.
It's your world. What nonsense. Now,
Nonsense?
once more, from the beginning.
That's it, Dinah. If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. Contrariwise, what it is, it wouldn't be. And what it wouldn't, it would.
Guardian Leviosa. Stop. You're going to take someone's eye out. Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. You do it then if you're so clever. Go on.
Guardian Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Oh, well done. See here, everyone. Miss Granger's done it.
Come on, y'all. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Listen, I'm in love. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Hey, I'm in love. I'm a believer. Come on. I believe. Hey, y'all sing it with me. I believe. The people in the back. I believe. I can't breathe.
All alone, my pet?
Why, yes, I am. But
The little men are not here?
no, they're not.
Making pies?
Yes, gooseberry pies.
It's apple pies that make the men folks' mouths water.
Oh, they do look delicious.
Yes, but wait till you taste one. Go on, have a bite.
Stop it! Go away! Shame on you, frightening the poor old lady. There. I'm sorry.
Oh, my heart. Oh, my poor heart. Take me into the house and let me rest. A drink of water, please.
Artu? Where are you? Artu? Artu? Huh? Artu, you're on fire! R2-D2, you found a cigarette. Well, I don't think smoking is grown up at all. Because it's very dangerous. Smoking does dreadful things to your lungs and is very bad for your heart. Well, I know I don't have one, but humans do, and I think we should set a good example. Well done, R2.
Yeah, these are the big 5 personality traits explained through this video. Yeah. So I had a question. Just give me a moment. Mansi, is this possible? Someone is creative, but absolutely 100%. I have seen the most creative people to be introvert, Mansi. Bilkul, yeah, it is definitely, it is so definite. I have seen lots of creative people and very, very introvert. Like they would only be comfortable with their inner circle only. Hota hai, yeah, because so you know what happens, especially with creative people, they want to reflect a lot on themselves. Okay, and they love it doing it. And I have, so I know two of such, and two many people, where two right now at this moment, such good pencil sketches and all, such good, it will look like the sketch is going to talk to you, but very within that inner circle only, not very comfortable all around with people and all. I have seen very creative people being in that space. Now, values. So if we talk about values, I think all of us as Indians, we have a lot of value system. Do you all agree? So values is our inherent principles, which will tell us that this is what we are going to do in future, right, Jyoti? Like, for example, one value which is all of us have been given is that do not answer back to elders. This value system has been there, and sometimes it might be very difficult for us to control, but still that has been taught to us. Do not answer back to elders. That kind of stays with us forever. So yeah, so touching the feet, yes, so many values, respecting the elders and all those things have been there with us for quite some times now. What happens, so there was this survey which is known as Rokish, RVS, which is written Rokish Value Survey. Okay, so as per that survey, there are two different kind of values. Nilesh, you have a question? I can see your hand raised. Do you have a question, Nilesh? Okay, maybe my mistake. Yeah, no problem. So as per that, we have two values. One is your terminal values and one is your instrumental values. Now, what do we mean by terminal value and instrumental value? See, terminal value is the end. The name terminal only talks about the end state, right? So terminal value means the end state where you want to reach, a comfortable life, okay, a luxurious life, happiness. That's the end state. Maybe right now your terminal value would be to get done with your MBA X program with your degree and get a promotion. Like you are eyeing on that promotion on that particular job, and after you're done with that degree, you may get it, right? So that as for now, you might have that as terminal value. Instrumental values are those values which are inherent in you. Okay, and which will help you to reach to your terminal value. So instrumental values will, help you step by step so that you can achieve your final goal or final target, which is instrumental value. Now, these are your term. Always remember, instrumental values are inherent. Okay, they are within you, and the chances of instrumental values changing is very low. Only in life-changing or life-threatening situation, your instrumental values will change. Otherwise, they are relatively permanent. Whereas your terminal values may change. Okay. Now, I remember in one of the class, somebody asked me why do you think, okay, what was that? Okay, let me see. Terminal value, self-respect. Because as I told you, terminal value can change, right? So one learner asked me, why do you think self-respect is terminal value? It has to be instrumental value. Because if it is something which is there within us, we can't change that. No, self-respect is terminal. Why? I'll tell you. Many times you will see people are, stuck in toxic culture, toxic work culture. Nobody respects them. The boss is toxic. But because they are the sole breadwinners of the family, they compromise on their self-respect. Do you all agree to this? They have to compromise because till the time they're able to get a good job, a nice job. Okay. So you are like, fine, theek hai. Abhi to it is important because at the end of the day, money is important for me to run my family. There's so many responsibilities. So we all home loan, Nilesh, so many things it can be. So we compromise. So that's why your terminal value is something which you can compromise it. But in general, so if you are a forgiving person now, you will see that how much people would have done. You will forgive that individual. Okay, you might remember those things with you, but if your nature is forgiving, you would be. If your nature is helpful, you would automatically become helpful. But wo ho sakta hai ki conscious and conscious, itna sara people have backstabbed you, sabotaged you. So as I said, in life changing, an extreme situation that may change, but in general, jo DNA hota hai, the kind of genesis we all have, that is going to stay with you. If you're a cheerful person who kind of lights up everywhere they go, it stays with you. Okay. Of course, we have our own sad days and all, leaving that apart. So that's your terminal values and instrumental values. Now we'll talk about the value system of different generations. Okay, we are going to talk about generational values. And this is quite important, interesting topic too. So today we will be talking about the builders, the baby boomers, the Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. Who are builders? Okay, the people who are born between 1924 to 1945, they are they are known as the builders or silent generation or even the maturist. In case three names are there: builder, silent generation, or maturist. So these people have seen the world war. Okay, so these people have seen the world war. That's the reason they value the family relations a lot. Family ties, they are once, one marriage and one job kind of people. Okay, and this is an era of before feminism. So nowadays the entire meaning of feminism has changed. But are you aware of suffrage movement? Suffrage movement, you all know, that is the wave for feminism. Okay, there was a suffrage movement because earlier women were not even allowed to cast a vote. Okay, they were not allowed any rights in their properties, they were not allowed. Yeah, so in 1954, Mansi, right, suffrage movement took place where all the women, they came together, they fought, and then only we had the right to vote. So earlier, before that, before in 1950, before 1950s, none of us had. Yeah, so yeah, it started there. Yes, Satish, and the wave was there across. Okay, so many women have come, even men also supported. So that was your suffrage, and that is also known as socialist feminism. Yeah, so talking about it, this is a pre-feminism era because we are talking about 1924 to 1945. So it was one marriage. Divorce was still a taboo, where divorces were not common even in West. Okay, one more disclaimer. So as per one research which was done in Harvard, so they said that when you talk about this generation, the earlier generations are more skewed towards the West, but from millennials and all, you will see that we are at par with the Western generation. Because if you talk about this time, it was all about coming back from World War, okay, making sure that everybody is together, making everything brick by brick. But tell me, during this time, during 1924 to 1945, what was important in India? Was it family? What is one job and one family and taking care of your loved ones? Was it that in 19? No, very good. Independence. It was all freedom. People even didn't care. Yes, absolutely. Rahul, Yunus, Aniket, Sunil, everyone, Jyotisman. Because at this point of time, also families and all had taken a backseat. It was all about your motherland. It was all about getting that freedom. So yes, so you see the earlier generations were quite different and all. So yeah, so this is your builders generation. Then comes the next one, the baby boomers. So baby boomers are the one who are born between 1946 to 1964. And the interesting name, baby boomers, is all for the reason that after this World War, these Europeans and Americans and all these soldiers, they were returning back to their homes. And hence, at this point of time, there was a spike in the birth rate, a huge spike in the birth rate. That's the reason this generation is known as baby boomers. Okay, this generation might not have seen the war, but they have felt the aftermath of the war, whether it is smashing of the Berlin Wall, or whether it is the Vietnam War, and whether it is the Cold War between the two blocks. They have seen. It's a little hippie kind of generation, and this generation is less rigid than the earlier one, but more than the next one. Okay, so this is known as their baby boomers generation. And then you go to the next generation, which is known as Generation X. These are the people who are born between 1965 to 1980. And Gen X is the one, they are also known as MTV generation or latch and key generation. Latch and key, why? Because from this generation onwards, it became a two-income household. Okay, as I said, till Gen X, it is skewed towards the Western part. So it was more about two-income household. Divorces started becoming a little common. People started going for single parenthood. Okay, many people, the age of marriage was getting delayed by this time, right? The age of marriage started getting delayed. So this generation, latch and key, because as I said, both the parents were or maybe single parent or divorces. So what happened? Kids were kept under latch and key. And that's the reason they turned out to be quite a street smart generation. One more interesting fact about this generation was that it is said that I was reading a research paper which said that Gen X was quite brand conscious generation. Okay, this generation is also said to be quite materialistic, and they see the earlier generation where they were sticking to one job and all. From this generation onwards, they started on an average like 6 to 7 jobs they do change in their entire career span. So this was your Gen X. Then comes the next generation, which I believe, I think that most of us would be from this generation, Gen Y or millennials, huh? Or maybe some of you are from Gen Z. But yeah, if you talk about Gen Y or millennials, they are born from 1981 to 2000s. To 1999 rather, because from 2000, and so it is Gen Z. So what happens, this generation has been seen everything. So we are that generation who have had Walkman, but you all know Walkman, and now we are listening music on your cloud and on your what do you say, apps. Agreed? Not agreed? We are that generation. I'm quite like, if you talk about the Gen Y, I'm from the earlier Gen Y, right? Not from the later ones, as you all might be. So if during our time, I don't know whether you remember or not. Yeah, so much of transition, Shilpa. Yes. Thomson Walkman, cassettes and tape. Also, one more thing, tell me, do you all remember that antenna? Doordarshan was there, DD1, Metro and antenna. Aaya, nahi aaya. We've been a part of that generation from antenna. We have gone to, cable TV, and then from there to set-top box, from there to dish TV, and from there to Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hotstar. We have experienced everything. And yes, aluminum foil. Plus, one more thing you'll see, we have been so agile. You show the newer generation what's a floppy, they would never realize it. How much storage used to be there in floppy? Kitna hota tha? 2 MB, 1.44 MB. Now imagine. From there, now TB we talk about, right? Nahin, Nilesh, 24 MB was not. Yeah, Rahul is correct. It was 1.44. Yeah. So from there, we have been. Do you all remember this thing? That there used to be VCR. So we used to rent the VCRs, and then we used to rent 3 cassettes with it for $100 a night. Huh? Yeah, that's what the generation. So I think Bilkul, and I don't know whether you have done this or not. I don't understand why people used to put a Karara note inside the VCR when the head used to be dirty to clean that. Do you have any idea? Do you remember this thing, or it was only my side only that they will do this thing? They'll take a crisp note and put it across, and they'll say, "Oh, we are going to clean the head, and now the movie would be clear." I don't know whether it has happened to you, but yeah, I remember that very vividly. Yeah, so we have been, been there, done that, everything. We have been sorted. Yeah. Cleaning, yeah, cassette cleaning also, and that all the. Acha, do you remember how you used to kind of dub the song? We used to give a list, side A and side B, 8 songs, and then we'll get dubbed and we'll take it to our hostels and all. Yeah, and all our favorite songs we'll love. And even when we wanted to gift to our like loved ones and all in family and friends and all those things, we will have their favorite songs all written, give it to that guy. He fill it up and give it to us. I think unmixed tape, it used to be some $50 or so, I remember. So, oh my God, the likes have been different. Camera roll, Kodak camera, Kodak moment, 36 aega. If you're lucky, sometimes it will get exposed to sun, and then the entire roll would go for a toss. So yeah, we have been a part of that. Now, yeah, so that's why, yeah, okay, now sorry, Gen Z, so I got carried away with Gen X so much that I forgot about the Gen Y so much I forgot about Gen Z. So Gen Zs are those where the entire, like, they are the digital, what do you say, integrators. They have integrated digitalization in their life so flawlessly that they can't imagine their life without digital or internet era. Okay, for us, I'll tell, like when we were like in school and all, we have done all our projects and all our studies through going to libraries and everything. Now, yes, exactly, Nilesh. Now, for this younger generation, the ones, it is for them, you can't ever say that I don't know the answer, because then they would not make an effort. It would be, go Google it. They have an answer for everywhere. It's Google it. So yeah, so for them, they have kind of flawlessly, they can't imagine that rotary phones. Do you remember 0, 2, 2? They don't even know the concept of rotary phone. For them, everything is on your iPad or your internet, and everything revolves around it. Even if you want them to socialize, their socialization is also social media. So it's yeah, it has so much gone deep into their lifestyle and their lives that they can't think of their lives without it. Now, talking about your attitude. So when we talk, so we say, right, this individual has a very positive attitude, learning attitude. I always tell to the young generation, the younger students and all, that, you sometimes you might not have skill, you might not have knowledge, but if you have the attitude to do it, you are sorted. Do you all agree? Sometimes you have great knowledge, amazing skill set, but your attitude is somewhere that you are not a go-getter, you are laid back, you are slacking, and you don't want to do it. Okay, that's not correct. So when we talk about attitude, it's like how you behave in a specific set of conditions or situation, how you behave, that calls for your attitude. And in an organization, we have different job attitudes, like job commitment, job satisfaction, job involvement. Now, talking about attitude has got an ABC component. A is your affective component, B is your behavioral component, and C is your cognitive component. So when you talk about cognitive, it is all to do with your past experience and your brain's right? That's how your mind plays a very important role when you talk about cognitive component. Affective is all about emotions, your emotional setup. And behavior is how in certain situation you behave in different manner. Okay. Now, let me explain it to you with example. So what happens here is that cognitive component, that I'm talking about your brain. So what happens, you must have heard this phrase, once bitten, twice shy. Doodh ka jala, chhans phuk phuk ke pita. That's what you must have heard. Yeah. So that's what. So when certain situation, if something has happened to us in past, because it is an evaluative component, it always evaluates the pros and cons, the earlier experience, and then takes a decision. So, example, if you were betrayed by someone, you will always, it would not be easy for you to rely on people. Agree? Huh, Shilpa? Huh, Amrish, Aniket, Ankit, Arvind? Do you all agree? Yeah, especially if you have a co-worker and you have shared everything. Jyoti shares her great ideas with the co-worker, and the co-worker goes to the boss and presents that idea to be his idea. In future, Jyoti would not tell, any other co-worker about all her thought process, because then what happens? Because you have been sabotaged in the previous. So that's what your cognitive component works. It's evaluative. It always measures pros and cons. As a second incident is like, for example is that if in your childhood you were drowned whilst you were trying to swim, or you're going somewhere, you always will remember that experience, and you would be scared to go into the waters because of the past experience. So yes, your attitude is formed of cognitive component. Then you have your affective component. Affective component talks about your emotions, your emotional setup. Sometimes people become so so attached to their co-workers in office place that they don't feel like leaving their jobs. Trust me, they feel, oh, this is my setup, I know everyone is so loving. If I go to new place, what will happen? That is your emotional setup, because emotionally you're so attached, you can't even make decisions. So I have seen kids, okay, so there were kids who have opted to go for the same college because their friends were going. Hua hai. I think if you have not done it, I'm pretty sure you would have seen people around it doing it, because that's how the affective component works. Your emotions. Yeah. So that's what. Because, and for example, sometimes you might get an amazing job outside your city, outside your country, but you are so attached to your family, your culture, your people around, you can't take that decision. So that's your affective component. Then there is a behavioral component. So behavioral component is that how you behave in a particular situation. See, you might not be an individual of that kind, but because of the situation, you may behave in a certain manner. For example, appraisal happened, and in general, you're very nice, kind of very congenial individual, very cooperative and all. Is that Madhuri? Oh, wow. That is very interesting though. And how did you fare? How was it? Biology, did it work well for you? No worries, I was worse in math. Okay, so what happens in such case if you're not happy with your appraisal and you see people around have gotten a nice appraisal, those who are not even qualified for that, it may come up. You are not, you don't want to shout at people, but you are so irritated at the moment, you're so frustrated at the moment. If people come to you, you don't want to listen. So because of this situation, also our attitude is effective. So that is your ABC. Remember that, huh? Effective, behavioral, and cognitive component of attitude. Now we'll talk about the three different kind of attitude. So it's job satisfaction, job involvement, and organizational commitment. Let me first explain it to you, job and involvement and organizational commitment, and then I have a separate slide for job satisfaction. See, what happens is that our attitude with job attitude would always be positive if we are involved at work. That's the reason, trust me, guys, I always say that if you think that you are doing enough by working hard in office and you don't want to attend office party, no. You don't have to make yourself uh, aligned or aloof with office parties. They are also important element. Do you all agree? It is important to attend office parties. You have to be involved. You have to come across an individual who can be dispensed of it easily. You have to show your importance everywhere. If you start, kind of keeping yourself away from such activities, you would not be seen and people would not recognize you and your importance. It's important to be there. So job involvement, see what happens when we were young, we always, and not young also, in office also, when you're doing good, when you have having great relationship at work, your organization is kind of appreciating your effort, you like to go to work that time. देखा है when everything is going nice and organization is understanding that Usha, Mansi, Nilesh, Sunny, they're doing so good, appreciation is there, you are involved in every project, your input are required, you feel like going to work. But on the other hand, when you don't have good days and you feel, oh, people don't even recognizing my efforts and all, we don't feel like. So the more you would be involved, the better it is. You foster great relations at work when you are involved. If you're not involved, that relationship goes for a toss. It's always important to be there. Okay, help people, take initiative. Absolutely, yes, absolutely, Rahul. And then comes your organizational commitment. See, it's always a give and take. Because Usha, introverts are trying to go away from people, so they are enjoying themselves. Right? Organization also needs to take care of our needs. It's not always I need to take care of organization. Sometimes see, it's a two-way relationship. I do hard work and all. An organization needs to understand my hard work. There has to be some career development. I don't want to be stagnant in the same position. I need to go ahead in the life, right? And that's how organizational commitment has to be there. As if I am giving something, I do expect. If organization is committed to me by giving me proper recognition, proper rewards, proper career development, I foster great positive relation, a positive work attitude. Do you all agree? Yeah, when organization is taking care of my needs, I would go a notch higher, do extra for the organization, create a positive work environment. And then job satisfaction. If you're looking forward to go, see, Monday blues we all have. That is a different aspect. But if you're looking forward to go to work next day, okay, you don't shudder ki what will happen. Your boss is very difficult to work with. You look forward to go to work. That means your job satisfaction is high. That is important. Okay. If you're not satisfied, you would shrug away from work. You would feel, kab the weekend would come. So if you are an individual who stays in positive moods, create vibrant workplace, you love to go to work, this is good. And because your positive job satisfaction will help you to go ahead in your life and career, your stress would also be reduced. The conflict would be reduced too. So yeah, so these are your three job attitudes, right? Job satisfaction, job involvement, and organizational commitment. Yeah. Okay, now we'll take a little bit about perception. Shall we take a break and come back after the break and do it? However you all say. Break? No, yeah. So we'll come back by 8:25. ठीक है? हाँ. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Let's come back to the class and discuss from perception. So we are done with personality, attitude, generational values, and everything till now. Let's go move further and talk about perception. As I said that we had last time discussed that perception is your point of opinion about certain thing. So if we talk about the general definition, there's stimuli and how we perceive stimuli through our five sensory organs. Through eyes we see, through nostrils we smell, through tongue we feel the taste, through ears we hear, and through skin we feel the touch, right? From when these five sensory organs, they get any stimuli, they process it, and then we interpret that information. That's what is the entire process of perception. When we hear, so it may happen that some perception may be driven by the visuals, how you see certain things. Some perception are also known as auditory. Okay, that is hearing, right? When we hear, we try to understand, comprehend, and try to interpret in a certain manner. So that is your auditory perception. And then the things which we see, that is your visual perception. If you look into this picture, if you see both the individuals, they are correct on their opinion. One individual says that it is 6, another says it is 9. And if you see to it, both of them are correct in their own sides, right? Both of them are right. That's how it is. Okay. The problem arises when I don't see your perception and you don't see my point of opinion. And from there, the conflict starts. And I told you last time as well, the day we start seeing each other's opinion, most of the time the conflicts would be resolved. Now, okay, it's on a very lighter note, but definitely I would want to know. Boys, do you agree to this bit? Do you all agree? All the boys here in the class to think? I feel men are very, very positive regarding their, there's certain things. They always feel very confident in their skin. Huh? Jyotishman is the only honest individual who's answered. Huh? Gaurav also. What about others? Yes. Now the answers. Come on, Rahul. Yeah. Yes, to a certain extent. And I that's a very positive trait. Very positive. Okay, however, they'll feel very confident in their skin and they feel, okay, we are crushing it, we are killing it. Okay, now I would want answers from the girls. Do you agree to this bit, girls? You feel? As I said, yeah, girls don't even know how to take in compliment. They don't even know. Huh? Jyoti, you don't feel like that? Like this? Trust me, if I say, Shilpa, you look so pretty. And Shilpa would be like, oh, probably, you know what, I'm wearing a black today. We come up with reasons of when people compliment us. We come up with different reasons. We'll never take it gracefully. Ki, thank you. We never say, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, lovely compliment. Have you ever said that somebody has complimented you? Oh, yeah, lovely compliment. Thank you so much. We always would find reasons to kind of nullify that, to nullify that compliment. So that's how a female thinks. And yeah, so last time, remember we saw that Dove's ad. Do you remember that Dove's ad? Yeah, and this time, have you seen another ad of Dove, which they have made during Navratri? Are you aware of that ad? Did I show you in the class? That ad? No, na? Let me show you that. It's a latest campaign of Dove and how our beauty standards is there. And we'll talk about that. It's a very, very, I think, eye-opening kind of ad. And this is what our society has been since, I don't know, time immemorial. So are we there on the video page? Okay, just let me know. Jyote. Yeah, thank you, Shilpa, Gaurav. Yeah.
इधर देख जरा, ऊपर कर।
मैं पढ़ाई कर रही हूँ।
हाँ, पढ़ लेना।
मैं
रुक ना, इससे रंग साफ होता है। आधे घंटे बाद धो लेना।
अभी तो स्कूल खत्म भी नहीं हुआ कि घर वाले मेरी शादी का रिपोर्ट कार्ड बना रहे हैं। रंग रूप के कितने नंबर कट गए।
कमर 44।
रुकिए बेटा, बेटा पेट अंदर, सांस खींचो, पेट अंदर करो। अरे पेट अंदर करो, सांस खींचो, खींचो खींचो खींचो। अब लो जी ना।
वजन के कितने नंबर घट गए।
39।
इसका रिपोर्ट कार्ड बना रहे हैं।
वेदिका,
कहते हैं तू सुंदर नहीं तो तेरी शादी के नियम अलग होंगे। हाँ या ना लड़का कहेगा। तू सुनेगी, चुप रहेगी। पढ़ लिख के लायक बनो नहीं, किसी पढ़े लिखे के लायक बनो, ये समझा रहे हैं। कहते हैं चेहरे पे तेरे दाग जितने उतने समझौते करने पड़ेंगे। पापा को गाड़ी देनी पड़ेगी, उसके बाद ही तेरी डोली उठेगी। अभी से सिखा रहे हैं, ये दिखा रहे हैं कि आईना मुझसे प्यार नहीं करता। इस खूबसूरती के रिपोर्ट कार्ड से नजर हटा के तो देखो, मेरी नजर से नजर मिला के तो देखो।
स्कूल जाती उम्र से ही इंडिया की 80% लड़कियों को ब्यूटी टेस्ट का सामना करना पड़ता है। डव कहता है स्टॉप द ब्यूटी टेस्ट।
And these are actual, these girls are the actual girls who have agreed to be a part of it. Yeah, that's what, and trust me, it is so true. Like, if you talk about Indian scenario, I think, and I always tell you that sometimes you may say, oh, it does not happen in our family, in our house. We are a very small part. When we talk about India, it's a very huge country. Okay. And we don't even come to that, the sample size. It has to be big. And it does happen, right? Yeah, that's what we have kind of, when we talk about beauty. And the best part which I liked in that, पढ़ लिख के लायक बनो ना बनो, किसी पढ़े लिखे के लायक बनो. And that has been, nobody would say how you are as an individual, how much you have achieved. It is always like, what you have achieved, how the kind of guy you're going to get. That's what happens in Indian society. जितना भी अचीव किया उसके हिसाब से they'll see what kind of spouse you're going to get. This has been since with us for long period of time. And yeah, as I told you, we are representing the modern India, but then there's a lot of Bharat there. So it is always India versus Bharat. And yeah, coming to impression management, which is a part of perception. So what happens is that we all want to portray ourselves in a certain manner, how people would want us to be. And all of us have done it. And you can't say that, oh, I have never done it. All of us. So when we talk about impression management, we have 3 parts of impression management. That means we have 3 selves. What are those 3 selves? You have your authentic self, your ideal self, and your tactical self. Let us see what your authentic, ideal, and tactical self is. That first is that authentic self, which is true to yourself, which your inner circle knows. Like, for example, Sunday ko nahi nahana to nahi nahana. That's how. Like, for example, you're watching a match on TV and you're eating your chips or popcorn and that chips falls down on the couch. We all say 5 seconds rule and we eat it. Remember? That is your authentic self. Because for your family, it does not matter whether Shilpa is CHRO or Mansi is Chief Technical Officer, Yunus is a president, or Vijay is the Chief Global Head. It does not matter. For them, you are not defined by your roles or your designation. You are defined by your traits. You are the family members. Do you all get it? So that is your authentic self, your family, your inner circle, and you yourself know it very well. Can you pick up that cookie when it falls down at work? Would you ever do that? घर पे तो bed से उठा के you will pick up and eat it. I'm being very honest. That's generally an individual, but when we are at work, we'll never do it because that's not our authentic self. Authentic self is only for us and our near ones. Yeah. And then that is one part of our impression management. Second part is ideal self. Ideal self is that how I would want myself to be. You know, maybe I kind of see somebody else and I want myself to be like that, or I have my own image with certain flaws. Like, for example, for my personal thing, okay, for my personal thing, I procrastinate. Professional, I never. And when it comes to my personal front, I procrastinate a lot. Whether it is going to go to a doctor, getting my test done, whether any. And this would I would want Pooja's ideal self. I mean, for me, would be an individual who does not procrastinate at all. So likewise, we all want to have an ideal self where certain flaws of ours we would want to work on. But if you talk about ideal self, this weight loss industry works on your ideal self concept. They will show you this is how you are and this is your ideal self. Entire time this weight loss industry is minting money on that. You know, it is, see, for example, if you talk about weight loss and all, it is, if you are not healthy, it is, of course, being obese and overweight is dangerous for health. But if you're active, all your health reports are fine. How does it matter? The number. If your all organs are well, you are active, you can give, you know, competition to any other person. So that's what it is. So your ideal self is how you would want yourself to be, the best version of you. That is your ideal self. And then comes your tactical self. So when you have some underlying motive, some ulterior motive, when you want to that motive to be achieved, then you use your tactical self. For example, when you want to go for a vacation, all boys or all girls vacation, and if you're married, how you kind of, you know, manage your spouse by taking him or her to a shopping or for spending time with them and then putting it across, oh, I want to go for a vacation with all girls trip or all boys trip. Or when we have wanted pocket money from our parents, we would start washing the utensils, we would start studying, because all our parents wanted when we were young to study. Yahi chahte the parents, though they did not have much expectation from us, they all wanted us to study all the time. So if you want that thing, what you have been craving, you'll start studying. And if you have kids, you would see that they would start doing pani ka bottles bhar do, all these things. So we all have practiced tactical self since our childhood. And that's what happens at the office also. Your JFM is near, appraisal is due. It will be all good to your boss, because you remember your boss is going to remember the recent things which have happened. So that's your tactical self when you have an underlying motive, an ulterior motive, and you want to get it done that way. So when you combine your real self, your ideal self, and tactical self together, that makes an impression management. Okay, everyone, are we good? Now we go to talk about perceptual selectivity. Great. See, our brain will become a junkyard if we start processing everything and anything that comes to our way. So our brain is very, very smart. What brain does? It filters out, it weeds out the information which we don't require. Only the information which is relevant for me, which is significant for me, that only my brain is going to process. The things which are not, which doesn't matter to me, totally irrelevant, the brain wouldn't process those things. So yeah, so there are certain things which will help me to pick up certain things from the environment. There's lots of information in environment, but we are very selective. And that's what, because something which is important, plus apart from that, there are certain things which trigger that, you know. And what are those things? That's what we are going to discuss. What are those elements which kind of triggers that? Intensity. Okay, so when you see people wearing bright clothes, you can watch them from far behind, right? And that's how you have all these halogen kind of thing and all these neon fluorescent things around and you always see that if when you're driving, somebody's wearing black, you'll always say, why people wear black at night? Because they are then camouflage, you wouldn't able to. And that's how you all these traffic police and all, they're wearing a neon jacket along with their neon sticks so that you can catch their glimpse. Your perceptual selectivity goes to them. You are able to grab them from the cluttered environment. So that's one thing, intensity. The things which are intense, you will figure out how happens, right? You watched Kuch Kuch Hota Hai? Kuch Kuch Hota Hai dekha hai? You all said you are millennials. I will assume it that you would have. You saw Kajol wearing that new, exactly, Yunus. Kajol coming wearing that neon dress coming to college. Everybody, nobody noticed her before, but everybody started noticing. That's what is the power of intensity. Hai na? Okay, moving further, repetition. We just, when we started the class, we discussed, right? I think Usha or who said that they keep 3 alarms. Huh? Yunus, I think, said. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's what it is. So repetition is something. See what happens once your alarm buzzes. If you don't snooze, if you switch it off, the probability of you getting up would be less. But Pritpal, what happens? You keep, when you have 2-3 alarms, then what happens? Ek bari snooze kya, ya off kya, do bari kya, third time you'll have to get up. That's what it is. So repetition has great effect. Okay, so it is important. There are huge, as I said, huge chances that we will miss out on alarm if you just put 1 alarm and switch it off. So that's the reason we probably prefer to have few alarms, right? So repetition, again, when you take it from in the organizational context, what happens? Today only, okay, I had to submit something, and it started coming. Gentle reminder 1. People will send mail. Sometimes you miss it out, or intentionally miss it, and however, you start getting gentle reminder 1, gentle reminder 2, and then when the intensity or the number of times it increases, then you're forced, yeah, I'll do everything later, let me just reply to this. Happened hua? Repetition, it forces us to reply to that. Yeah, some people are also like that. Sometimes I've seen. So I have worked with an individual. What that individual will do, send email, immediately back it up with a WhatsApp message, and within like 5-10 minutes, if it is not replied, will also call up. So yeah, and so that's, and then in order to be safe from these people, you tend to do that work. Another bit is contrast. I think we all have done it, especially English literature, Hindi literature and all. When we write some quotes, we want teacher to know that we are aware of these, muhavaras or these quotes, and also we highlight it. And when we find that our answer is beautiful, we bold it, right? When we want teacher to understand this, we have done it. Again, bringing it to organizational context, you send a big mail, but you want to highlight certain parts. I think you must have studied in business communication as well. Okay, so what we do, we highlight certain important parts for people to know that this is very relevant. Even if you miss out this entire mail, please look into that. So when you have contrast, like, bold, italic, underline, which stands out from the entire chaos, the chances of you capturing that bit increases. So that is another element of perceptual selectivity and motion. Okay, now it is but natural that we always capture things which are moving. Moving object is going to gain your attention more than your static object. That's proven. And tell me truly, Sach Batana, what did you notice first when you looked into this picture? Car, right? So Jibin noticed car, mostly like Usha, Shashi, Sunny, Pritpal, man in the jacket, man walking car. So though it is a still picture, but most of you notice the, yeah, so Jyotish man probably noticed the house, but yes, as it is, it's a still picture, so I can understand that. But still, even in that still, a static picture, all of you notice the things which would be moving. So that is but natural as a human tendency. So when you are, sitting and in your balcony, you tend to look into these car, people moving, kids coming from school and all those things. That's how it happens, right? Moving object, they get more attention than that. Another bit is your personality. The personality really matters. If you are an individual who is pessimistic, okay, then what happens? Even in the most opportunistic condition, you will always see the negative. What opportunity, within that you will find negative things. If you are a positive individual, even in the most challenging situation, you will find, silver lining. Always find some opportunity. So see what it happens. Generally, the kind of individual you are, you will catch those things from surrounding. So for example, if you're an individual who keeps on nitpicking, तो घर आते ही you will see, oh, ये खराब है, ये गंदा है, ये dirty है. You would not probably see the efforts which people at your home would have put in for you. I don't know whether you are able to understand what I'm trying to say. That it depends upon the kind of individual you are. You pick that from surrounding. Yeah. If you are an individual who is very positive, graceful, so you come home and you feel, what the family has done for you, you will be very happy. Or in office also, if people would have made effort. So it depends upon the kind of person you are. So very, very cliche thing when we say that the glass is half full or half empty. But yes, it is with people. Problems bhi hongi. Yes, you have to be realistic. That is important. But along with that, you should not lose the ray of hope, right? Optimism. Again, it also depends upon the perceiver, the individual who is thinking about. Now, if you talk about these two people, do you think their thought process or point of opinion was same when you talk about Donald Trump or Barack Obama? Do you think? Nahi, bilkul bhi nahi, right, Sashi, Aniket? It's not. They both are very different personality. They have had different experiences. They have had different attitude, and because of that, their input about the same situation is going to be different. Never, correctly said. So because of your past experiences, your interest, your knowledge, your experience and everything, you tend to be a particular kind. And these two have had a very varied experience. I really liked sometimes once a person told me that if it is about business, then probably I'll hear to what Donald Trump is saying. He's a successful businessman, isn't it? Okay. So yeah, so it depends upon what kind of thought process you're looking at, right? In both the individuals are going to have very different thought process because of their different personality, different attitude, different experience, different, different interests they have had. Another is situation. Your perception is definitely influenced by situation. You will see when you are not doing well, very simple thing. People will perceive you in a different manner. The day your times change, you are in a brighter light, people start viewing it differently. Might be you were not I'm talking about in general, very bright kid, and people thought you would not be able to do good when you grow up. And you grow up to be a fine individual, a very successful individual, their perception about you would change. Yes, no, situation makes individuals think differently about us. Yes, no, yeah. Hota, we have seen. Even if you talk about, you hear about Shahid Kapoor, okay, we never noticed him. We always were busy admiring Aishwarya Rai's beauty. We were very smitten by her. Nobody knew about him. He was just a background dancer. His time changed. He became one of the coveted actors of Indian film industry. He was doing well. And then people got to know, oh, he was in Shamak Davar's troupe. He did so well, this, that. Okay. So when your times change, people's perception about you change a lot. We always say that people always pray to, rising sun. That is so true. So situation makes you change people's perception. Have you understood? Should we go ahead and do a caselet on Dunkin' Donuts? Everyone, are we all good? Aniket, Mansi, Usha, Ankit, Arvind, Ganesh, Gaurav, Jibin, Jyoti, Jyotisman, Kharavila, Madhuri, Manas, Nikita, Mansi, Pritpal. Okay, great. Rahul, Rohit, Shashi, Shipra, Shilpa and Shipra, Boshreya, Sunny, Sunil, Yunus, Vijay, everyone? Okay, lovely, very nice. Now we'll talk about, this is case on Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, So very interesting case on Dunkin' Donuts. So what happened? Let's see it. So in 2022, sorry, 12, around a decade before. So I'm pretty sure we all know nowadays, especially after during COVID, Netflix has pushed so many South Korean dramas. Okay, so I think South Korea does not need any introduction. People are aware of their bands like BTS and Blackpink and all. So in 2000, and South Korea, if you're aware, they love their coffee. North Korea में लोगों ने coffee का नाम नहीं सुना है because they are living in such an autocratic reign. And whereas people in South Korea, they love their coffee. So they said that what happened in South Korea, a perception case of Dunkin' Donuts in Seoul, their capital is Seoul. So what they did, Dunkin' Donut made a very special scent spray system, which was known as Flavor Radio, and which was installed in all these city buses. So what they did is that whenever there will be a jingle of Dunkin' Donuts, what happens? This spray will get activated, okay, and it's going to release the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Jesse, there would be Dunkin' Donuts jingle, it'll get activated, and then you're sitting in the morning, dozing off to sleep, going to work, and then you smell this amazing aroma of coffee. So that was their idea. So what happened? So yes, and if you're aware, South Korea is one of the countries, like if you talk about Japan, extreme hectic work schedule. Are you aware of something which is known as karoshi? Did I tell you last time what is karoshi? Okay, so karoshi is death by overwork. If you talk about Asian countries, yes, Japan, South Korea is also going towards that. Here, people are working extra. Okay, overwork culture. So Japan, what happened after this bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? People are Japan are, that's become their innate trait to work extra hard. So what happens after a hard day's work? They go to these bars and all, izakayas they call it, these cheap bars to have their drinks and all. Most of the Japanese, they pass off of the street. Okay, where they're going home, okay, waiting for their train or whatever bus, and they'll just sleep off there. So Korea is also in towards that culture, very hectic work culture, very workaholic, and they have glorified. So in Korea, you'll see people really have long working hours. So they go to work early in the morning. So what happens? So guys, if you get time tomorrow, I'll try to show you that karoshi thing. I think it's very relevant. And I'll tell all of you, please don't glorify overworking. It's not a good culture to glorify overworking. Take time for yourself, rest, recuperate. It is important, absolutely important for all of us to take care of our health. Right. So what happened is that, so as soon as this Dunkin' Donuts jingle would start, this freshly brewed coffee's aroma would be there. And really, this entire campaign had an amazing effect on people. So around 350,000 people, they experienced this ad. And they saw that after this, the sales in Dunkin' Donut, the visitors grew by 16%, and sales near that outlet. As soon as you see what happens, I'm going in the bus, I'm hearing this jingle, freshly brewed, this aroma is there. So as soon as I get down on my stop, so there are these stores nearby this bus stops, and also as soon as I get down, in my mind, it was also always brewing, this coffee thing is brewing. So I go to that coffee counter, get my coffee, like to Dunkin' Donuts, because now Dunkin' Donuts, I'm not kind of relating it with a donut, I'm relating it with my morning coffee. So it increased by 29%. So now what happened? People, it kind of had an effect that people, when they were thinking about the morning coffee, it was definitely Dunkin' Donuts. So this smell of coffee acted, as I told you right in the beginning, that we have 5 sensory organs, and through this we take this stimuli. And this smell of the coffee was a stimuli which people kind of smell, and then they were connecting it with Dunkin' Donuts because this jingle was playing. Now, before we head on to the last bit discussion, let's watch this Dunkin' Donut video. Just give me a moment. Are we there on the video page? Yeah, yeah, Jibin, thank you so much.
The capital of Korea, Seoul, is nicknamed the City of Coffee. There are over 200 Starbucks coffee shops and even more local cafes in Seoul. Even so, the coffee industry is still growing and competition between cafes is becoming even more intense. Dunkin' Donuts projects the image of a donut shop more so than a coffee shop. And as such, other places than Dunkin' most often come to mind when people are looking for a place to have coffee. Mission: encourage people to choose coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. The terrible traffic congestion in Seoul results in people commuting to work primarily via public transportation, on buses and subways. These people are busy, and so they stop by cafes on their way to work. How do we approach these people? Idea: release the aroma of coffee along with radio advertisements. After analyzing the Dunkin' Donuts jingle, we created a machine that releases a coffee aroma. The machine is triggered only by the sound of the Dunkin' Donuts jingle. This jingle was inserted at the top of the Dunkin' Donuts radio ad. When a Dunkin' Donuts ad plays on the radio, a coffee aroma is simultaneously released. Those who noticed the aroma while listening to the ad exhibited some surprised responses. Through positioning, when they exit at their bus stop, they see the Dunkin' Donuts shop in front.
오빠 것도 사왔어.
우와, 근데 어디 커피야? 향이 참 좋다.
바로 요 앞에 있는 던킨.
던킨 커피가 이번에 내리는 당신을 기다립니다.
They are much more inclined to make their stop at Dunkin'. Results: more than 350,000 people experienced the ad during the campaign. Visitors increased 16%. Sales of Dunkin' Donuts located by bus stops increased 29%. The ideal result is that people are now starting to think of Dunkin' Donuts when they think of their morning coffee. Coffee and donuts. Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, and that's how they kind of worked on this and cashed this, right? You can see that when you talk about that sales grew by 17%, it's a big number. Yeah. So now we'll talk about these biases. We all have these biases. The best part is that we had to first understand, introspection is very important. First, what is important is that I need to realize that I have this bias, then only I can work on it. If I feel mere saath, I don't have any problem, I don't have any bias, I can never work on my problems. So the first thing is that to understand that, yes, I may have these biases. So let's see what are these biases, right? So we would be talking about stereotyping, halo effect and horn effect, forming a similar to me effect, which is also your in-group bias, and then judging based on primacy effect and judging based on recency effect. So stereotyping is that when you generalize everybody, when you put people under a bracket, okay? So it has happened to you. Tell me truly, you're driving a car and somebody brushes against your car and you say, ladki hi hogi. It must be a girl. Tell me. And we are here to kind of let go our biases, right, Sunny? It has happened, right? And it is because see what have happened. Sometimes, yes, Vijay, if it is not good, but yes, it has happened. I will tell you, sometimes girls only would say, and see what happens. Yeah, exactly. Men don't cry, men can't be nurses, men can't cook. Yes. So for example, if the girl is Pooja, there's a huge chance that the person who brushed against your car is me. But it may happen that Mansi is like a Formula 1 driver. Hota hai? Yeah, you are. So it may happen that you have come across an individual like me who is not very good with the driving skills. But yes, Mansi might be one thing, right? Really take it away. So it is there. You cannot judge everybody. Every individual is unique. Okay. Delhi ke people are like this. Hota hai? Delhi wale aise hain. Bengalis are like this, people from down south are like this. We all have been a part of it. Trust me. We need to break this. You have to, you have to treat an individual how that individual is, as a unique individual. Every person is different. Yeah, we only say that. Yeah, Mansi, and we all have been guilty of such biases. So do not judge people. Do not put everybody in the same bucket. Every individual is different. It may have happened that 10 times it was a girl, but you still cannot say that it is every time a girl. Okay, girls are always asked this question. Oh, you're 25, so you may get married or after some time. So if you're married, they will ask you, oh, you will have a baby, and then how are you going to do that? Please don't see, since I'm a woman, so probably I can give you that aspect. But yes, men also face a lot of stereotyping. Okay, men would be expected to stay late at work. Why? That individual, that man might be taking care 100% of the baby. It happens, right? You're expected to stay late because you're a man. Or men would be handling because there's a woman who's taking care of the family. So yes, do not judge people or do not stereotype, put them under a same blanket, same bucket, however you want to say that. Okay, so that is stereotyping. When we have popular impressions about a particular gender, particular race, particular community, and then we judge them accordingly. That is your stereotyping. Okay. Now, another is halo effect. When we get carried away by one positive aspect of an individual, one positive trait of an individual, or one positive characteristic of an individual, and they do, kind of ignore the other ones, that is halo effect, because you are just swayed by one positive quality. Okay. Okay. So, for example, you have a boss who is very good in talking. And can you say that he's very good at his work just because he talks very motivational talks and all he gives? Can you say that he's equally good at work? Can you say that? Bilkul nahi, right? Absolutely not. So do not judge people based on one good characteristic. So if you are taking an interview, that person comes, okay? He's very sound in technical knowledge. Bahut acha hai. But Aniket, just based on technical knowledge, would you hire that? You have to see everything, whether culturally fit hoga, what kind of attitude it is. I told sometimes we don't have knowledge and skill, but if you have that attitude to learn, we can do a lot of things. Do you all agree? Sorry, where were we? Halo effect. Do you all agree? Yeah. So do not kind of think that if an individual has this good quality, he's going to be the best one. Absolutely not. Okay. So that is your halo effect, when we get carried away or swayed by one positive trait of an individual. You have to. So especially if you're a part of a performance appraisal, or if you're a part of hiring process, it is important. Bilkul. Yes, Jibin. Bilkul. Absolutely. So you have to be, see, Jibin, we will make a sound decision if we are aware that this is what, I am wrong. I have this thing that I get swayed by this particular quality. I have seen people. So for example, what the kind of trait you have, if other individual have that trait, you would like that individual. You're in interview panel, for example, you are in interview panel and you really are updated about current affairs. And if you ask that individual about current affairs and he's also good at that, just like you will have a tendency to like that individual, because for you, that trait is very important. But not that one trait we need to look. We need to look holistically. We need to give importance to every attribute, what it calls for. Right? That is halo effect. Just like halo effect, there's another effect which is known as horn effect. Right? Halo is behind all these awakened people, Gautam Buddha, God, Jesus, like that's a halo. Horn is like what we have in devil. Okay, so horn effect is just opposite. When you start judging person based on one negative trait, and you make a judgment about a perception about that individual ki ye to bekar hi hai. So for example, there might be an individual in your workplace who is never on time. Okay, he's very bad in time management. Every time 10 ki jagah 10:30 he'll reach to work. Every time. But can you say that he is not a hard worker or not a good team player or not good in his efficiency? Can you say that? Can you say that about that individual? He's not good. Absolutely not, Shashi, right? Absolutely, Jibin. You have to see. So when you are appraising that individual, you can give him a very low or negative mark in discipline or time management. But you need to look into it. That individual might be great initiative taker, great, what do you say, team player, problem solver, creative individual. Just because he is not on time, you cannot judge that individual to be not good at work, right? So that's what I'm saying. Neither get swayed by one positive trait, nor judge or put a bad impression about an individual because of one negative trait. You have to vet the entire person. You need to understand each trait, and then only you can make any decision about that. It is Pritpal, but you know what happens? The more you are aware of your own vices, your own things that, okay, I don't see you. It may happen you don't like people who are indisciplined and who don't respect someone or any one quality. But it does not mean that because of that one quality that makes them a bad individual. That one quality might be bad, but that individual might have other qualities which are very, very good. So we all need to assess that individual holistically, not based on one trait. Otherwise, that's a judgment bias, right? And we don't want such biases to be there. And we can only, really work on these things if we kind of know us as well. Then another is forming to me, similar to me effect or in-group bias, both are same. So when you belong to the same community, and this one happens, okay, this is one has happened to us right from our childhood. When you see an individual who is from your same community, yeah, that is so true. And at times, Pritpal, I think most of the time, you are right in there. Most of the time we get carried away with that and we kind of choose to the easy way out. Absolutely. Now I think this bias we all have been a part. When I see, oh, this individual, we both have the same vibe, we all have the same likings. He's from my school, she's from my city, or we are from the same community. You must have seen same demographic, same value and belief. So we start cutting a slack for them. We start appreciating them more. Yes, no. Okay. And especially you have to be very well aware of these things, especially when you are a leader or a manager. You have to be a fair chance. Just because somebody is from your community or your city or your school or your batch, it does not matter. That it does not mean that you would be cutting extra slack. See, you can foster great friendship. You can foster great relationship. That's perfectly fine. You can be with each other. You can enjoy each other's company. That is absolutely fine. That is not a problem. But when you are at work front, you have to be a thorough professional. Then you cannot cut, a slack to that individual or do extra favors to that individual. That bit is not agreed on. Do you all agree to this bit? We all have this in group bias hota hai. In office also we make a group and then we would always kind of be favors to them. That happens. It's a normal thing. And that's what I'm saying. Till the time I'm not aware, I don't consciously feel it's like that. I feel I'm doing right. See, it's very important for me to understand what is wrong. Then only I'll be able to make a decision. Until and unless I'm not even aware of what is wrong with me, I'll never be able to make a right decision. So that's what your in-group bias. Nilesh, are you in government job? Since you said that, that's the reason I'm asking. Okay. Then judging people based on primacy effect. Okay, there was a time when people would say first impression is the last impression. It should not be at all. Okay, because nowadays that's the reason you will see the organizations are having lots of interview processes. Like you don't have to just do one interview. How many rounds of interview nowadays in a typical corporate happens? Batao. 3 to 5. Okay, 3 to 5. All of you have said. So we'll take it as 4 as that average. Yeah. So yeah, see why it is, because they know. Let's see, if there's only one chance, bilkul, absolutely, Shilpa. Bilkul, yes, Pritpal. So it's important, one chance. You can see it all is again what you do in that 30 minutes. So in one chance, people can be fooled off. And plus you never know how that day has been for you. Okay, you never know. It might be a hectic day. You have come for the interview. You have had several hiccups, several problems while you have reached there. So your day might be crappy, one bad one. And you are not able to deliver that well. But that does not mean that you are not a good individual. Likewise, you might have created an, larger than life first impression. Yeah, but that's not that you are. So rather than being swayed with first impression, it is always important to see the consistency of that individual. Consistency is more important. If we talk about your, the Padman, the story about it, in the first go, he wasn't able to create because he did not even have resources. His intention was good, his idea was good, ideation was good. So yes, he wasn't able to do in the first go. People made fun of him. People called him crazy. They thought he would never be able to do what he wants to. But he did, right? That's why I never judge an individual based on the first impression. Usha, and that's a good trait. That's a good trait of an individual. You have to see, that's what, in interviews it should be. You have to make the party comfortable. Okay, you are not there to intimidate that individual. At the end of the day, if that individual is capable, you definitely would want that individual to be a part of your team, and that's a good one. That's a reason a good interviewer would always ask you normal questions about where you are from, who all are there in your family, to make you settle down, and that those, giving you water, making you settle down is something of a trait which is of a very, very good interviewer. They will always do that. Then judging based on recency effect. That's what happens. Do you remember which case study we did in the beginning of the session? Kaun sa kya tha? Do you remember that? I'm pretty sure you would have remembered that. Which one we did? Come on, you've forgotten recency effect. You're proving it to be wrong. No, the concept we discussed, but with the caselet we did Rang De Basanti Vijay, the first one when we started. Yeah. So generally, see what happens is that it would have happened that you have done a great work throughout the year. Pura saal, you have done a great work. And during the appraisal time, you had a rift or a fallout with your boss. Huh? What happens, Mansi, then? Fallout with your boss. Entire year, you have achieved your targets. You have had fostered great relations with your boss. But just before that, because the boss will forget what you did in the entire time. But he's going to remember what you didn't do. That's what happens. So people start judging you what has happened recently. So for example, there's an individual, let's take a very simple example. He always asked you for money and help, and you always help that individual, monetary, non-monetary, whatever help he needed or she needed, you help him. Okay, now what happened? One time you said no. What is going to happen then in that case, Yunus, Abid, Abarish, what happens? Basappa, Madhuri, Mansi, Basappa, tell me, what will happen? Have you all gone to give me ratings? You can clashes, because that individual will forget what you have done in the past. People tend to remember what has happened in the recent times. Yeah, people tend to remember and they tend to judge you based on that. Okay, this individual did not help. Okay, what happened the 10 times which that individual helped you is just one time, the recent ones. Maybe that individual himself or herself needed some help. So yeah, so everything, whatever you've done for the past, everything goes for the, it becomes futile. So that's how it happens. That's that. You have to be aware. If it happens with us, we have to think, nay, this is the first, this is the first time this individual has helped me in the past a lot of times. It's just the first time it has happened. So we have to be aware. That's what I said, that till the time I'm not aware of it, I would not work on it. Okay. Then comes your contrast error. We always compare and contrast. If you talk about the movie, Coolie #1. Since the previous one, the one in which Govinda acted, was such a superb movie, people loved it, it was a hit and all those things. See, what happened in that case? The next Coolie #1 came and it fell flat. People started comparing it. Oh, Govinda was such an iconic, this is such trash. Maybe Maybe. Now, what happens, Nilesh? Maybe if there was no benchmark of earlier movie, it could have been taken on the face value as a normal movie. If not hit, it might have been an average. Because we had, see, that's what I'm telling you to explaining you is that when you are interviewing two individuals, okay, first one was amazing, okay, next one was good, but you start comparing these two people. Do you agree? Pehla wala itna acha tha, this, that. But you don't have to do that. What you need to do, whatever the parameters of the interview are there, you need to judge that individual based on that parameter. Okay, you have to see the parameters and then you see, maybe when you are evaluating later on who would be a best choice, then you can do that. Then you can take, of course, we will take the best of the lot. That's what the interview process says. That's selecting the best, which we would talk in selection, how it happens. But you cannot compare that individual. You have to see what were my parameters of rating, and based on that, does that individual falls in the criteria which is accepted? If yes, then how does it matter? Later on, you can evaluate. Do you agree to this bit? You have to go by what are the aspects or parameters you are judging that or making a decision on that individual, right? So yeah, this is your contrast error. Now, this is what all the video links are there. That's it. So, okay, now have you all filled your, this thing? What do you call that? That form which, that in rating or whatever it is. Huh? Pranjay has sent. Yeah, Jyoti, let me just copy what Pranjay has sent. Okay, copy and send it to you guys. Abhi mil gaya? You got it? So are we all good? Have we understood? So today we discussed about your personality. We discussed id, ego and superego theory and big five personality traits. Then we talked about attitude. We talked about the three components of attitude, that is your affective component, behavioral component, and cognitive component. Then we talked about generation and their values. We talked about we talked about builders, baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and then Gen Z. Then we talked about your perception. We talked about perceptual selectivity. We talked about impression management, and we talked about these perceptual errors or biases. So do you have any questions? Acha, would you want to see today that video which I was talking about? Nahi, Aniket? Question nahi or video nahi? Or tomorrow, however you like it. I was telling you, I will be telling you about what happens in Japan. The karoshi. Abhi, shall I show it now? It's a 5-6 minutes video. Yeah. Like, I think that's very relevant. Let's watch that. It's death by overwork, which happens in Japan, which is known as karoshi. Just give me a minute.
This is not a crime.
Are we there on the video page? Are we there? Huh, Ganesh, Usha? Yeah, thank you so much.
Scene. These are businessmen passed out on the streets of Tokyo after a long day at the office. These photos were taken by documentary filmmaker Allegra Pacheco, who visited Japan for the first time in 2012 and was shocked to discover that this scene was not uncommon.
I thought it would be really interesting to just circle it. You circle things to raise awareness or to highlight something, right? To remember something.
Pacheco wanted to know how someone can start their day at the office and end up sleeping in the street. So she followed these salarymen from when they left their jobs to the moment they passed out. What she found was that this was just a symptom of a much bigger problem in Japan. a culture of extreme overwork, oftentimes to the point of complete exhaustion and even death. Pacheco is far from the first person to point out the extreme and isolating lives of Japanese salarymen and women, or white-collar workers. The concept has been part of the conversation for decades and has appeared again and again in Japanese pop culture.
じゃあ帰ろっと。
ついでにこれもお願いね。いやー、助かるなー。
In 2015, this video went viral of a Tokyo-based YouTuber chronicling his typical workday.
11:15, leave work. 12 a.m, arrive home. 12:30, bedtime.
This is, of course, supposed to be silly, but overwork in Japan is no joke. A recent government study found that nearly a quarter of workers logged more than 80 hours of overtime every month, and that 1 in 5 workers are at risk of death by overwork, either by stroke or heart attack or from stress-induced suicide. There's even a word for this in Japanese, karoshi, which literally means overwork death. To find out why this is such a problem in Japan, we spoke to Thomas Loser, who teaches courses on Japanese culture at NYU. He says that widespread overwork really started after World War II, when the country switched its focus from strengthening its military to rebuilding its economy.
The Prime Minister says we're going to have income doubling and 100% employment. And the idea then becomes, instead of the military and emperor is your family, the company is your family. You will do everything you can for your family.
This actually worked in Japan for a while. The country experienced a so-called economic miracle from the 1960s to the 1980s, becoming the world's second largest economy after the US. But as the economy grew, so did the rate of karoshi.
It really becomes a social problem and a social concept in the 1980s, right at the moment of pure success. People were really starting to question what success meant. We are at the forefront of the future, the forefront of a certain kind of global capitalism, etc., but it's leading to lives that make us kill ourselves even when we don't want to.
Japan's economic bubble burst in the 1990s, and the country has seen several recessions since. But oddly enough, the culture of overwork continued, and in many ways became even more of a problem.
Employment becomes much more intense. People are much more desperate than ever. There isn't the lifetime commitment to them anymore. So they're continuing to work very, very hard for fewer jobs with less certainty. So the discipline is there, the idea that you should be working and giving physically, mentally, everything that you've got. But the conditions that encourage or exacerbate that have changed and maybe in some ways become worse. Drinking became the mode of dealing with the pressure.
They go to the bar and drink a lot, and it seems like they're releasing their stress, but in fact drinking too much is one of the big reasons why they're so stressed.
On Friday nights, the amount of salarymen sleeping on the sidewalks would triple. They basically leave from the bars and make their way slowly towards the subway, and a lot of them pass out along the way or in the actual subway entrance.
Despite the fact that karoshi has persisted for decades, the Japanese government didn't really address the problem until last year. They were pressured to do so after a 24-year-old woman logged 105 hours of overtime, wrote on social media that she was, quote, physically and mentally shattered, then jumped off a building to her death. In the wake of the tragedy, the government took action, but only capped overtime at 100 hours, an amount experts say still puts workers at risk.
I guess the question of overtime is really what's at stake here, and in some ways overtime is very definitely still a part of the economy. If you were really to do away with overtime, and therefore do away with the problem of overwork, that would have real economic changes.
Karoshi is not just a Japanese problem. Work-induced deaths have been widely reported in China and South Korea, so much so that the countries have their own words for it. In the West, we call this burnout, but it's not as trivial as the term suggests. A 2014 study showed that a quarter of salaried workers in the US regularly put in at least 60 hours a week.
Japan is just a more extreme example of what's happening everywhere. The salarymen are in a way like a corporate soldier. but we're all headed in the same direction. Japan is just already there and in an extreme fashion.
Yeah, the condition, that's what. So Japanese, I mean, what happened after this, your bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? They started working so hard that now it has become their innate trait to work so hard. And that's why I say, please do not glorify workaholic. Don't say that, oh, I'm workaholic, work for 14 hours, 16 hours. Bilkul bhi nahi. Yes, Shilpa, I hope so. They do realize. Yeah, yes, Mansi. And people have that culture of saying, oh, I come from work at 10 o'clock at night. Please don't. It is important, try to complete all your tasks within the given timelines. Nahi? Bilkul. Yeah, Sunil, we definitely are. So yes, we'll call it a day. Everyone, so we are going to meet again. 12 घंटे के बाद again we are all together. So yeah. So tomorrow we would be talking about conflict, I think, and leadership. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. You all have been interactive. Yes. Thank you so much. And otherwise, I know it's a Saturday evening. You all want to enjoy, but you all have been there with me throughout interacting. So trust me, it doesn't even feel like your virtual class. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow then. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Good night. Have an, good night. Bye-bye.